What you are about to hear is a very candid conversation I had with a young woman who admits that her battle with drugs has been a long one and difficult. Her story isn't unique. There are dozens of others with similar stories all around us. As our discussion progresses, you will hear that she would like to roll back time and not do drugs, not even for the very first time. I appreciate more than words can say this young woman's willingness to sit down with me for this interview. I believe it took tremendous courage on her part. I agreed to protect her identity and have taken steps to distort her voice. It really doesn't matter who she is or what she sounds like. The important thing is her story, so I hope you will listen closely as I talk with a young woman that I will simply call X. In this first segment, I asked X to talk to me about the home she grew up in.
I was raised with two parents in my house. They didn't get divorced. My dad's an addict. He's been an addict his whole life. My mom's not, which is very surprising because most of my family members are. I've battled with it for 8 years now, and I'm still struggling, but I'm making it.
Okay, if you have been struggling with it for 8 years, you appear to be a pretty young person to me. So how old were you when you did drugs for the first time?
13.
13. So you were a middle school age student. Were you able to complete high school and the requirements you needed to graduate?
Yes, barely, but I did.
If you will, talk to me about the situation that brought you to taking drugs for the first time. If you were living in a home with a father who abused drugs and you saw what it did, how did you come to do drugs and try it for the first time?
Well, it all started out with just fun and goofing off with friends and riding around and just getting high, and then it turned into an everyday thing.
Can you talk to me about what drugs you took?
I did marijuana, any kind of pain pill there is, meth, cocaine. I haven't did any hallucinogens or anything like that.
Students in schools today are exposed to all types of awareness stuff that tell them that drugs are bad, that meth is bad, that illegal use of prescription drugs is bad. We hear it everywhere. That education component is there. So I wanted to know why X decided to do drugs, especially knowing that the high wasn't going to last.
Once you start, it's hard to stop. It's like a chemical imbalance in your brain. Once you get that chemical in your brain and you like it and you like the way you feel, it's hard to come off of it.
And I know that you are involved through the drug court program here in the county. How did you come to be part of that?
I violated my probation, and when I went in, I found out that I was 3 weeks pregnant, and they sent me to rehab, which I left, but I signed up for drug court after I had the baby, and I've been working the program since.
If you were doing drugs while you were pregnant, once you knew you were pregnant, did you try to come off of them, or were you even able to think about doing that?
Well, I didn't do drugs until I did drugs my first 3 weeks of my pregnancy, and then after I went to jail, I didn't do any, and I didn't take anything until I went into labor, and then I took something for the pain and smoked some pot because I didn't like the way I felt.
In the next portion of this interview, I asked X to talk about her motivation to stay off drugs and what she's doing to be able to stay clean.
You have to get away from everybody that you run around with. You can't really associate with them. If you do, you can just talk to them on the phone. You can't go around them because they just remind you of what it was and how it was, and you just want to go back to it after that.
What made you decide that you want to get off drugs and be drug-free? What's your driving force and motivation?
Being a good parent and being good to myself. I've not been good to myself in years. It's time to step up.
You said that you tried meth or have used meth. Do you have an addiction to meth?
I'd say I do.
And what made you progress to meth?
I'm not really sure. It was just there one day when I didn't have painkillers, and I did it and felt just as good as I did when I was on painkillers. So it just switched the chemical imbalance in my brain.
And does it make you feel good for a short period of time, or do you eventually come down and just really crash?
You feel good for 24 to 36 hours, and then you come down hard and you feel like you're just absolutely dying.
X has a younger brother, and in this next segment, I asked her to talk about her relationship with him.
He's seen me firsthand come off drugs and use drugs, and he's seen it all, and I don't think he wants to end up like me, because he's seen me crash, he's seen me detox. He's seen all of it except for some of the usage and stuff, but he gets lectured every now and again, but I'm not going to tell him what he can and cannot do, because that's what pushed me into doing more drugs, was people tell me what I couldn't do.
Okay, so it's kind of like a little bit of a rebellion against somebody trying to enforce their will on you?
Right. I'm not one for authority, really, so I go against it.
How long have you been in this drug court program now, trying to get drug free?
2 years.
And has it been successful for you? Or like a lot of people that I've talked to, and talking with Judge Davis and some of the people who have worked in drug court, they don't expect someone to come into drug court necessarily and be clean from day one and be able to stay clean and finish the program. Sometimes they have a little bit of a setback. Have you done pretty well, or have you experienced some of those setbacks?
I've experienced a lot of setbacks. I haven't, I've did my best that I could, but it's not determined whether you're going to relapse or not once you decide to quit. It just happens.
And when you relapse, do you kind of drag yourself back up and say, no, you can do this, stay with it? Or does that relapse last a while?
If I confess to the relapse when it first happens, it doesn't stay with me, because I have the support around me. I have my class, I have peers that are watching over me and helping me. But if I don't confess to it and I keep doing it, then I end up back in the same old routine.
Well, let me ask you this. I know that you said you have the support of your class, and those are peers, those are other people that are in drug court, right?
Right.
But do you get assistance from maybe a psychologist or a therapist, a professional person in addition to that, or is it mostly just the group that you depend on?
I go to Peninsula for mental health. So.
And are you finding that to be helpful?
Well, I've had problems out of the medication, but I'm trying to get back on track right now.
How do you feel like you're doing overall?
Better than expected.
And is your family supportive at this point?
Very much.
How about your dad, whom you said is an addict himself, a user?
He's seen it all and did it all too, and he just wants the best for me.
Is he trying to be clean as well, or is he still?
He's clean on the cocaine and stuff like that, but he has prescription pain pills.
In this last segment of my interview with X, she talks about the lengths she went to pay for her habit and the consequences of her bad decisions.
If you work, you pay for it yourself. If you don't, you steal, and you just play every trick in the book to get money from anybody you can.
And is that what caused you to be charged and brought into court, or was it use?
Yes, I stole checks to pay for my habit.
Looking back at that, and you know it was wrong, is that something that you regret? Would you like to go back to the first time you took drugs and do anything differently?
I'd love not to ever have took them before in my life.
So you wish that you could have done as they tell the kids in school, just say no?
Yeah, I do.
So looking back 8 years ago, the first time you did it, and so young, was there anything that you could have had in your life that could have helped you not do drugs then that was missing?
I don't think so. I think I was just curious and wanted to know. I'd been around it being a child and everybody else was doing it, so why shouldn't I?
Is there anything else that you would like to say to people about addiction? Do you see it as a sickness?
Yes, I do. It is really hard to overcome, and you do need the people around you that love and care about you to get through it. You can't just do it on your own.
Do you think you also have to seek, as you have, the mental health treatment as well?
Well, it is a chemical imbalance because once some chemicals hit your brain, they correct you and make you feel the way you want to feel or how you think you should feel. So, yeah, you should seek other counseling just in case.
X, let me just say that I really appreciate you coming in and talking with me about this, because I know that it isn't easy for you to do, so I really appreciate it. And hopefully somehow together, you and I having this talk today can make a difference in someone else's life.
I hope so too.
Thank you.
X lost custody of her child, and she's still working to prove herself worthy to be a custodial parent.